Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to What's Up 290. Merry Christmas to you all, Happy New Year to you all, just in case I don't speak to you before then. We're doing a special one today. I have finally succumbed to peer pressure and I am about to go tubeless on my gravel bike. Right, so in the interest of just getting straight on with it, I have already removed the tyre from the wheel. The tyre we're using are the Panaracer GravelKing SKs, which I've been pretty happy with. The only thing they can't really deal with is very deep, sticky, slippy mud, which will be further highlighted in my 6-month review video of my Planet X Tempest. So the wheels we're working with are, these are the standard wheels from the Planet X Tempest. They're the Fulcrum Racing 700s, I think they are. I can't tell you for sure because I removed all the stickers from them because they look better. They came pre-prepared, pre-set up for tubeless, in as much as they have tubeless tape already installed. It seems pretty thick, pretty good quality. There are a couple of areas of concern which may have been caused by me having to use so much force to remove the tyre. There's just a couple, I mean, I don't know if you can see there, just a couple of little areas where it looks like it's kind of folded back on itself a little bit. So I'm hoping that will not compromise the airtight seal that it's supposed to provide. But this is very much going to be a suck it and see, hope for the best. I am planning on hopefully getting a second set of lightweight Hunt super wide carbon gravel wheels, which I will, again, providing this test works out okay, I will set up tubelessly, and I will also use those beautiful Chris King anodized, sexy as hell tubeless valve things. For this, I am using standard ones that came with my other Hunt wheels, which are on my road bike. I'm not tempted to set that one up tubelessly because I've had virtually zero problems with punctures, but off-road, obviously my last couple of rides have been a bit problematic, so I'm going to give it a shot so that I can run really low pressures and avoid pinch flats basically. So as you can see, there is a hole pre-cut within the tubeless tape for the valve to slot through, so I will do that first. Just take this little nut off. Now I'm also hoping that these have removable valve cores because I have an injector for the sealant which should make things a lot cleaner and more accurate when injecting, when filling the rims with the sealant. Right, anyway, tubeless valve core in. Let's put this nut back on. There's no tool for this nut, so I'm assuming it is just hand tighten as much as you can, again, to create a nice seal. That's pretty tight. Now what I will also do is I will utilise the tried and trusted soapy water method for putting the tyre back on, because I think one of the hardest parts of this is going to actually be getting the tyre, the bead, to pop into the edge of the rim when I'm inflating it. So let's get this nice and soapy, start feeding this tyre back on. That was an absolute doddle, which actually scares me a bit, because that would suggest that there's a bit of slack and flex there, which means it's probably going to be hard to get it to create a really tight seal against the edge. Anyway, push it all the way into the middle of the rim, away from the edges. There we go. Now onto what is potentially going to be the trickiest part of this, because I am lacking a very useful bit of kit, which is one of those canister pumps whereby you pump it to build up the pressure, and then you can release the air very quickly into the tyre, which helps it pop into place and create that seal. I'm just going to be using my standard Joe Blow track pump. So this could be where the video ends, if I'm honest, but it's all I've got. So give it a go, see what happens. All right, let's open up this valve. Check again that that's nice and tight. I did clean the inside of the wheel, by the way, before I did this, because I've been running tubes. These aren't brand new wheels and brand new tyres. So I made sure everything was clean. I checked that the tape, like I say, other than those little bits where it looks like it's folded back on itself, I checked that the tape was smooth, clean, and firmly adhered to the rim. Right, let's give it a go. My other worry for this section of the video is that I have done zero exercise since being ill. and I'm getting slightly out of breath just lifting up the pump and bringing it over here, so I might not actually be able to create the speed and the power I need to make this work. Wish me luck. Right, massive fail. That is doing absolutely nothing. Right. Very quick additional step to this process. I've had to jump in Dobby and I'm shooting off to Evan Cycles, which, although I've just seen a traffic warning up ahead, should only be a 10-minute drive, because I need to get one of those canister pump things. Otherwise I've got absolutely no chance of getting these inflated. So off to the shop. Let's see if I can come out with only what I went in to get. Right, we are now into day 2 of my tubeless setup tutorial. As you can see, I've added a few new items. I have the canister, which I got from Evan Cycles, and it didn't work, so there was a fair bit of fiddling around needed to achieve any kind of success, which included some electrical tape, a coffee. I've also brought out the scales as well, because I'm curious to see, being the weight weenie I am, I'm curious to see how much weight is saved with the tyre jizz over a normal inner tube. So anyway, backtracking a little bit, I cut the video because I was having zero success. Even with this, it just wasn't working. I think I found a solution, or in fact I now know I found a solution, because the rear tyre, just out of sight over there, is done, has been left overnight and is holding pressure perfectly. So I'll run through what the problems were and what my solutions were as we crack on again with the front tyre. So the main difficulty obviously is getting enough pressure in the tyre quickly enough to seat the tyre bead right in the edge and make a seal on the rim. And with this particular combination of wheel and tyre, the GravelKing SKs and the Fulcrum Racing 700s, it just wasn't happening. Even on the rear wheel, when I finally did get it to happen using my cunning technique, there was still a problem because the rim tape that had been inserted and set up by Planet X when they built the bike wasn't really properly set up for tubeless, which I'll show you in a moment. But basically the hole that they've cut to allow for the valve, it was far bigger than it needed to be, which basically meant air was escaping through the valve hole. So I needed to do a little bit of a bodgy fix on that, but it got it working. My cunning technique that I used was actually to re-inflate the tyre using an inner tube to pop it back into its properly sealed position, which I've done on this one. Deflate it, and then when removing the tube, don't remove the tyre completely, and be careful to make sure that one side of the tyre stays correctly seated. What that seemed to do was, obviously the pressure of the air that's about to go in needs to do less work, because basically it's pushing up against one already properly sealed side. So less pressure is required to push the other side tightly up against the rim and create that seal. So like I say, it worked well with the rear tyre, and it was the only way I managed to get it going. So fingers crossed for this front tyre. Right, I'll probably fast forward time lapse this bit, because as I mentioned previously, getting these tyres off is a very slow process. So I've been going a good couple of minutes already. I just cannot get the second lever under. I've got that much off. I can't get the second lever under and pull it over. Start the process of actually removing the frickin' tyre. Oh, thank you, by the way, anyone that sent me the link to that DIY compression canister. That was really useful after the event. You guys would be great just after a tragedy. Hang on a second, door knock. Another Amazon delivery. I'm not as scared about this one. I know what it is, so I know it's not from any of you guys. Oh, what about, oh, there it is. Right. Anyway, time lapse time. Let's crack on. Alright, we're cooking now. It's all coming off. There we go. Nice and easily. But as I say, I want to make sure it only unseats on one side. So yep, that's looking like it's right on the bead on the other side, so that's perfect. Is that the right terminology? Is that the bead of the tyre? Anyway, right, so now I've got to carefully take the tube out without disrupting the tyre, like so. Right, you probably aren't going to be able to see this very well, but I'll show you the issue I had with the rim tape that Planet X installed. Where's the valve? You see the hole there in the tape? That is far too big, and air was just shooting through, so I was always fighting a losing battle. So I basically run some electrical tape starting about here and then the same distance up the other end, and actually just poke the valve through so that it's got a tight seal around the valve with the electrical tape. I know it's a bit bodgy, but it seems to have worked so far. So right, let's give that a clean, just a quick wipe down, make sure there's nothing gritty on there. Electrical tape, and I want some scissors, so I've got a nice clean edge on the electrical tape. You alright there, Obi? I don't know if Obi's in shot, but he's twisting his head at me. He's interested about something, aren't you? Oh, I forgot to weigh the tyre with the tubing on video, but I did do it yesterday. So I'll check out the number in a moment. I took a photo of it. I think it was 1543, something like that. 1,543 grams, tyre, wheel, disc, and inner tube. So we will make the comparison in a moment. So again, this is hard to show on camera, particularly as I'm needing to keep the tyre on the wheel. But basically this electrical tape is the perfect width for the rim. So I'm just putting it on as smoothly as I can into the channel of the rim, smooth it down, make sure it's nice and tightly seated on the rim. That looks good. That's it, really smooth it in. So that's covered up that hole completely. And then obviously what you then do is you take your tubeless valve, remove the nut, locate that hole, there it is, and just poke the valve through, and that is much better. There is literally no way air can escape through that hole anymore. And you put your nut back on. And again, I don't have a tool for this, so I'm just doing it hand tight, but that seemed to work. It pulls the rubberized top of the valve into the hole, creates a decent seal. Right, so then it's just a simple, I say simple, a case of just putting the tube back on. Let's get that out of the way, so I can sit down and get a bit of leverage. I need this to work quite quickly today because I'm going to see Star Wars in a minute at the cinema with my kids. So I am on a time deadline, and yeah, that was nice and easy. So just to repeat myself again, the tyre is perfectly seated already on that side. This is the only side that was loose. So hopefully the air there'll be enough of a seal for the air to basically force the other side into the correct position. Before I do that, I just want to remind myself what the weight was. Hang on 1 second. Obviously we're going to need to do the Haribo test, although I don't have any Haribo, but I do have plenty of chocolate, and I couldn't even do the Fiery Psycho pickled onion weight test. I was just about to say, and I will eat whatever the weight difference is in pickled onions, but no, I'm not that stupid. Okay, so, oh, that was close. Don't know if you can see that. 1542 was the weight of the wheel, tyre, tube and disc. 1542. Right, so we have something to compare to once I've got the tyre jizz in the tyre. Alright, first things first, connect this to the valve. There we go. Now I needed, on the other tyre, I needed a lot of pressure in this. I think I pumped it up to about 140 psi. Obviously that's not the pressure I'm running in the tyres, but it meant I had a good solid, strong burst of air. Right, let's get pumping. Again. I've got all the animals in the room now, they're all being fed, wandering across the front of the camera. It's not as professional as you lot are used to seeing from me. Oh my god, I'm tired already. Right, that's 110, 120, 130. I'm going to go with that for the first attempt. Let's try and move that over there so you can see a bit better. Before we do anything, soapy water around the rim helps it to slip into place. There we go. Oh, now the kettle's boiling in the background. So every possible interruption I can have whilst doing this video. Right, ignore the noise of the kettle. So what you're listening for is the 2 or 3 pops as the tyre seats itself. So fingers crossed. Here we go. There's 1 pop, 2. Oh, there we go. Nice. Right, I can feel air escaping from somewhere. I think it's the bloody valve again. Let's set it off. Oh, it's actually just the valve core, is it? No, there's definitely air escaping from somewhere. But the tyre has seated. So, I don't think it is the valve actually, I think it was just the rim. Right, so I'm going to give it another go with slightly less pressure. But that has seated properly now. So, as I experienced with the other one, it was a case of just doing this a couple of times, and each time it seemed to hold air for longer without putting any kind of goop inside the tyre. And then eventually, obviously with the goop, pumped it up a couple of times actually. The first time it went down again very slowly, and I could see some of the jizz squirting out the side. Oh sorry, it was just, I just sort of called it tyre jizz once and it seems to have just stuck with me. I know. But yeah, then I pumped it up again. Everything seems to have sealed, left it overnight, and that rear tyre's perfect now. Right, so it's got up to 100. Let's give it another whiz. Let's make sure this is really whiz, not jizz. Make sure that's really tight. I'm sure there was supposed to be some kind of little rubber grommet or something that goes in there as well, but I haven't got them. Right, here we go. You can see the bubbles from the, what do we call it, washing up liquid. So there clearly is air still escaping from the edges of the rim. It does sound like it might still be somewhere around the valve, which is a bit of a worry. Right, let's set all this to the side for one moment, and we get on with the fun bit. I have it on good authority that the correct amount of jizz is about 60 ml per tyre. I'll give this a good shake. It's been sitting overnight. I have a very professional, multi-use, as I've discovered, syringe with a rubber hose. Obviously, I'm only going to be showing you this procedure with this, but there are plenty of other things you can do with these. So, pop the cap off. I'm using Stan's No Tubes just because it was the name I recognised from other videos. I'm sure there are other better, more highly recommended sealants, but you know, if it works, it works. I'm not really that bothered. Right, put that in. 60 millilitres or thereabouts. Boom. Right, that's just slightly more, but that's fine. Right, give it a wipe. I have a towel. I don't know if it's concealed or camouflaged on the rug, but I do have a towel down here, by the way, so I'm not dripping this stuff all over the place. Right, let's just lay that to the side because I've forgotten another job, which is to remove the valve core. So to remove the valve core, you would normally use a tiny little valve core removal tool, which, predictably enough, I don't have. But what I do have is a pair of pliers. Yeah, that seems to be loosening up. Disco. Right, I'll set that to the side with my coffee. Quick swig. Bring the valve to the bottom. In fact, I'll stand this back up against the cabinet so that I've got... Oh, it's dripping. Right. So I've got both hands available for this. Okay. That is nicely on the valve. And let's just start injecting. In she goes. Lovely job. 60 mils in the tyre. Screw the core back on. So I'm fidgeting around because I can't get comfortable. This isn't the ideal setup for doing this kind of stuff, but it's what I got. Tighten that up properly. I maybe do like an 1/8 of a turn each time before I hit the spokes. Okay, I'd say that was pretty tight. Next very important step, swish it around in multiple directions. Spread that jizz inside the tyre. Cover every inch of it if you can. Sorry about that, my GoPro battery ran out. I don't even know how far the recording got. The jizz is in the tyre, the valve core is replaced. I've pumped it up twice now at 120 psi and it is not holding air. So I'm properly frustrated, I think is the best word to use. I've given it another little shake and spread the, spread the sealant around in the wheel a little bit. I don't know, I'm running out of ideas. What I really didn't want to have to do is, after the fluid was in there, have to take the tyre off at any point, because that's just going to make a disgusting mess. But I've got a feeling the Planet X fitting of the tubeless tape is absolutely shit, so I think that's going to have to either come off completely or needs a bit of attention. As I mentioned, back wheel still holding air overnight, absolutely fine. This bastard, I mean, look at that, look. If I squeeze that, it's coming out of there. And that's the bit I doubled up with electrical tape. For fuck's sake. Alright. Anyway, I'm losing my sense of humour about it because I'm doing a lot more exercise, pumping these tyres up 3,000 times than I'd planned on doing today. This could be the longest tubeless setup video. It could go into a third day where I have to go and get some bloody rim tape. Right, 130 psi in the canister. It's not going to work. I already know that because it's all spurting out of here already. Okay, and fire. Oh, there we go. We've got a jizz squirt. There we go. Whoa. Squirting out there. There you go. All right. Surefire sign that things aren't quite right. Look, it's actually squirting. Look. Bugger this. Oh, I've made a proper mess now as well. I did do the weight, incidentally, while I was sitting there trying to calm myself down, recharge my GoPro battery. If I can get this to work, I stand to save about 100 grams per wheel, so that in itself is worth it. Even more so when I get those really sexy valves for the wheels. For now, I'm just thoroughly pissed off. Right, what's the time? I'm going to have to take the tyre off, try and clean it back up to as new again, start from scratch. Then I'm going to have to go and get some rim tape after I've been to the cinema. So yeah, this could well roll into day 3. Good morning, welcome to day 3 of the how not to fit tubeless tyres tutorial. This process has taken such a long time. I feel like I've aged considerably. My hair has grown and got greyer in that time. And we're still not there. Yes, Obi? Obi wants to play with me. Sorry, right. I'm on a time limit here, Obes. Right, so obviously this hasn't actually taken 3 days, as in 72 hours. I've been on pretty short time windows each day. But if your tyres and your rims are more compatible and the rim tape is set up properly in the first place, I do believe this to be about a 15-20 minute process, if I'm honest. Right, this is slightly distracting, wrestling with the dog at the same time as doing... Oh, he's got it. There we go. Right, okay. So yesterday, after another failed attempt, I went off to watch Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker. No spoilers, but my favourite Star Wars film of all time. That's all I'm saying. It seems to be trendy to dislike the modern Star Wars films. It's like people go into it already knowing they're going to come out and have something negative to say. But the biggest compliment I could pay is it made me feel like I did when I watched Return of the Jedi for the first time in the cinema. Like literal goosebumps at certain scenes. But anyway, I'm not going to go on about that. That's not what we're here for. I had a tip-off just before I left for the cinema, which was very handy because there was a shop right by it that sold this Gorilla Tape, which apparently works incredibly well as rim tape. So, and it was a lot cheaper, so that was £3 for a roll, as opposed to what I think was like £10, £12 for a roll of branded rim tape. So I've got a couple of rolls. So the first place to start today is to get this tape off this rim and basically start from scratch. So let's give it a go. Apologies if Obi starts humping that teddy in front of the camera there while I'm doing this. He's taken, oh there he goes. He's taken a bit of a liking to this new teddy that he got for Christmas. And yeah, he doesn't seem to be aware of where he is or his surroundings, and he's quite happy to, you know, get romantic with it, shall we say, in public. Right, why can't I get this tape? Here we go, here it comes. Yeah, and as I peel this off, you can see the amount of goop that got in behind the rim tape. So that clearly wasn't doing a very good job at all of creating a seal. Right, that goes in the bin. Let's give this a quick wipe down before I clean it properly. You'll notice I haven't even bothered brushing my hair, ironing my clothes, any of the normal morning routine before jumping on camera today, because it's New Year's Eve. Oh, actually, that's a good, leads me on to say, in the time, between the time of starting making this video and today, which is now New Year's Eve, we have achieved 1,001 subscribers on this channel. So, thank you all so much. I will do a special video with a giveaway, but I came out of the cinema, checked my phone, and boom, there it was. We'd hit the big 1K, so I'm super chuffed about that. So thank you all so much. Anyway, what was I saying? Made me lose my point. Oh yeah, I haven't bothered getting dressed or showering or anything this morning because I need this to have been finished this year. If I roll on beyond today, we're talking 2020, starting in 2019 to fit tubeless tyres and finishing in 2020. That can't happen. Okay. Alright, I thought I'd put some baby wipes in. Hang on one second. Right, I know these are a big environmental no-no, but the two of the greatest inventions of modern times: baby wipes, kitchen roll, kitchen towels. There aren't many jobs you can't do with baby wipes and kitchen towels. Yeah, that's got the last of the jizz off and any other dirt that was nestling inside there, of which there was a surprising amount, which only goes to emphasise the fact there wasn't a particularly good seal with that rim tape as it was. Okay, so there we go. Clean, dry, ready for tape. Now I might be getting this all wrong, but from memory, I'm led to believe you start the tape just like a couple of inches beyond the valve hole, which is where there, and go around maybe a couple of layers, and then make sure you finish a couple of inches the other side of the valve hole. I think that's the way to do it. That's the way I'm going to do it. So, okay, Gorilla Tape at the ready. Where's that valve hole gone? There he is. Oh, right, it's certainly very sticky. Here we go. Let's cut the end off so we can get a cleaner edge. There we go, and start feeding this round. Keeping it as flat and as smooth as I possibly can as I bring the tape round, but also smoothing it in right into the edges with my fingers. Make sure it's right inside the edge of the bead, nice and tight. Trying to avoid any creases or bubbles. I've gone a little bit off track there, so that's good. It's really thick stuff, this, so I think I will do 2 layers, but I'm not sure it'd even be necessary. So if you're even more of a weight weenie than I am, I think it'd be worth the risk with just 1 layer. Okay, I've reached the start again. So that is the first lap done. Just going to smooth it all off before I take on the second run. I mean, to be honest, that is in there really smooth, really neat, and right into the right into the channel. I don't know how well that'll come across on camera, but it's really got a firm, neat grip on that from what I can see. There was another trick I saw whereby you get something like a blunt instrument, like the sort of rubberized edge of your scissors, and you can get right into the edge of the rim if you're having trouble getting your fingers in there. I've got slightly sausage fingers, but they seem to be working pretty well for this at the moment, so I'm happy with that. Right, okay, let's carry on with the next loop. Oh, hang on, another knock at the door. Always while I'm filming, Amazon deliver something. Hold on. It was a little treat I bought myself. An actual paper map of Scottish Highlands, so I can do a little bit of recon for our NC500 trip. I know everything's been mapped out with GPX files and all the rest of it, but I actually do quite like old-fashioned paper maps. So there we go, something to have a look at later. Right, back to it. How far are we from the valve hole? Where's it gone? Oh, we're right here. Okay, so I've only got about another 6-7 inches or so. Okay, let's give it a snip here. Smooth that last bit into the channel. Right, there we go. And then once again, go around right into the edges with my fingers, my thumbs, and I will do the old the scissors trick just in the edges there. Taking no chances with this, seeing as it's about the 400th time I've tried to set it up. There we go. There, I'm not sure how good a view you can get of that, but it looks pretty sealed to me. Bloody hope this one does the job. Right, now decision, do I do it with the inner tube as I've done before, pop it halfway on first? No, we'll try the normal way first. Okay, so there we go, valve hole, very fine screwdriver to poke through for the valve, making sure I'm in the right place. There we go. Take your tubeless valve. This might be tight to poke through now because I made a really small hole, but I want it to be tight. There we go. And get your little nut for your valve. Screw that on, tighten it up. Okay, still a bit gunky in here inside this tyre, it's horrible. Right. Tyre is on. Make sure it's either side of the valve, which it is. Anyone want to place bets on whether this works first time? Okay. This is the bit I dread. This is where it all gets incredibly disappointing. Oh, bit of soapy water first. Mustn't forget that. Help that tyre to slide onto the rim, hopefully. Alright, let's get some pressure into this canister. Again. See, I watched Shane Miller's video. Doing it with, I can't remember what the wheels were, but they were Schwalbe G1s. And he didn't even need a canister. He just put them on, pumped it up with this pump, a Joblo. Pop, 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 sat in the bead, perfect. Squirt some jizz in, done. So there definitely are issues with Panaracer GravelKing SKs on Fulcrum Racing 700s. I keep saying 700s, it might actually be 400s, I can't remember. Right, I've got about 130 PSI in this canister now. Whew. Wish me luck. Holy moly. I've only bloody done it, I think. I mean, that's staying hard, and that's far more pressure than I'll ever run. But, see, I can hear a little bit of air with the bubbly water. So, right, air definitely is escaping, but hardly any. And I'm assuming that's what the jizz is going to do. It's going to take care of that. Yeah, right there is the only area where I can hear a little bit of bubbling from the soapy water. So it might just be that I put the sealant in, pump it up, it might go down slowly. In fact, hang on, let me check the rear. I haven't checked that today, that's been up for 2 days now. Yep, solid as a rock. Okay, so it would appear damaged rim tape was the problem all along. Okay, let's let this out. Oh, if this has worked today, I'm going to be so relieved because I think I genuinely would have just stuck a tube in this tyre and be done with it. My biggest fear now is after all this effort, going out and getting a puncture that can't be repaired without me putting a tube in on my first ride. I literally will hurl my frickin' bike off a ravine, assuming I'm near a ravine. More likely to be near a motorway bridge, so if you're driving anywhere near the M25, junction 6, watch out for flying bikes. Okay, so I've emptied that. Next job, remove the valve core. Where's my pliers? Right, there's my pliers. And oh, I definitely need one of those proper core removal tools because this is so frustrating doing it a tiny little bit of return at a time. Okay, and core removed. Let's put that over on the scales for now. Let's reshake this. Let's wipe off the stuff that was sprayed up it from yesterday's attempt. That's the other reason for wanting to get this done today. For 3 days I've had all this laid out here in our living room. Hasn't gone down particularly well, but it's irritated me as much as anyone else, I have to say. Right. 60 millilitres You don't need one of these things, by the way, that you can do it by just peeling back a section of the tyre and pouring the jizz in there directly, but I'm messy enough as it is, so I thought it safer to use my, as a friend called it, my enema kit. Okay, let's get that on quick then. There we go, and in she goes. Lovely jubbly. Cut that off, clean that off a little, get your valve core again, screw it back in. There we go, that's in nice and tight. Check that that nut for the valve is nice and tight again. Voila. Do that up and give it a spin and a shake. Right. Whew. Moment of truth. I am still expecting there to be a bit of leakage, because there was with the foam, with the soapy water, so I wouldn't be surprised. So it might just be that it takes me a couple of pumps and leaving it for a while before the sealant takes hold. I've just got 100 psi in there now, because I don't need the pressure to pop it onto the bead, I just need to inflate the tyre basically. So here we go. Oh! Woohoo! Hurrah! It's only taken 3 days, 2 trips to a shop, a couple of swear words, more out of off video than the ones you'd have seen on video. Fair bit of sweat, 17 million pumps of a pump. I think we've done it. I was going to follow this video up with a nice ride on them, but I think I'll leave that for the next video. The next video will be the reshooting of the 6-month review of my Tempest. Upgrades I've made, whether they have or haven't improved, whether they're worth upgrading. Now obviously it'll be a test of running tubeless. So yeah, anyone that's interested in the Planet X Tempest or just gravel bikes in general, particularly titanium ones, I'll try and go as in-depth on that as I possibly can. I say it's the refilming because I failed miserably on the last one because I had 3 punctures and my GoPro battery ran out and I had forgotten to bring my USB charging cable. So anyway, all's well that ends well. Yep, still nice and stiff. Fabulous. Thank you all for your tips in the meantime while I've been doing it. That's the only advantage of doing it over a 3-day period, is I've been able to take advice and guidance in between and then palm it off as it being my own ingenuity. But however we got there, we got there. As a very wise man once said, judge me by my results, not my methods. Obviously sometimes my results aren't great either, so probably best just don't judge me. Anyway, I hope somebody found this video useful and interesting. It was never meant to be like a comedy or a multi-day survival show. Anyway, I'm now tubeless. I will let you know my thoughts as soon as I've tested them out. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for getting me over the 1,000 subscriber mark. That was my only New Year's resolution I've managed to keep, and that's because I didn't have to really do anything. So that's awesome. Let's hope we can get 2,000 in 2020. Have a very happy new year, and I look forward to seeing all of you on Zwift, many of you in real life, and hopefully all of you on these videos very soon.